It's called A Time for Truth, and Senator Ted Cruz wrote it. He is the Republican senator from Texas, and he wants to be the president of the United States. Senator, first off, genius to go first. We were wanting to 2016 to kick off. Every network covered you. Good move.
Well, thank you. We decided to jump out there and just stand up and speak the truth. And, you know, a lot of people historically have sort of played around with an exploratory committee, with testing the waters. And, you know, really the whole heart of the campaign, the title of the book is A Time for Truth.
Okay,
we're going to tell you the truth and not just play around.
You didn't hold back.
Then let's start at the beginning. High school, that's not the beginning. You go back, you go all the way back in the book. But high school, you were smoking pot. Did you inhale?
I did. If you're going to smoke it, I did not manage to do it wrong. But look, I experimented as a teenager. I don't recommend it to others. Teenagers are not known for their wisdom. And indeed, another story I include in there was when I was in high school. I was at Second Baptist High School in Houston, and our arch rival, First Baptist School, stole our mascot. And I got 3 buddies together. We wrapped the school in toilet paper. Were chased by janitors in a midnight car chase, crashed the car. The next day, but we got away, but they wrote down our license plate. The next day, at a pep rally, they come in, they call me into the principal's office. The principal says, do you drive, my car was a 78 Ford Fairmont, do you drive this car, this license plate? I said, yes, sir, I do. Were you at Northwest Academy last night? Yes, sir, I was. Who was with you?
Uh-oh.
And I said, I'm sorry, sir, I'm not going to tell you.
Oh.
And the principal did not particularly care for me. And he said, well, okay, then. He reaches in his desk drawer and he pulls out a letter that he had written, he had typed, he'd put on school letterhead. It was addressed to Princeton University. I'd been admitted to Princeton.
Uh-oh.
And it was recommending they rescind my admission. And he hands it to me. He says, do you want me to send this letter? And I said, no, sir, I don't. And he says, then tell me who was with you. I said, sir, I've admitted my conduct. I'm happy to take responsibility and whatever consequences come from it. But I think it'd be a matter of character. I'm not going to tell you who was with me. He then says, I'm going to call your father. I said, fine, here's his number. I called my dad. My dad said, Ted, just get out of high school. But then I explained it to him. And my dad on the phone said, you know what? I'm proud of you. Stick to your guns and stand up and do what's right. And then, moments later, the principal called his assistant and said, call in the 3 boys. He knew their names already.
Oh, wow.
They came in. He ended up not sending the letter. But it was a fairly harrowing when you're 17.
Who are those boys, Senator? Who are the boys?
That was a character test.
Well,
and you passed.
I hope so. And one of the things that I discuss in the book is my family story. You know, my father was imprisoned and tortured in Cuba. I mean, I have his mugshot of when he was beaten and has a broken nose in Cuba. I talk about my aunt who fought against Castro and was imprisoned and tortured. I talk about my mom who stood up to her alcoholic father and became the first person in her family ever to go to college. And, you know, I admire people who stand up for principle.
I know, and your story, one thing is you are true to your school in every respect. So, hey, we got some questions. We're just going to give a bigger swath of what's in your book to give people an idea what's going on. All right, well, question number 1, if you could just keep it to like a sentence or two. Amnesty for illegals, how do you feel? And how do you feel about Donald Trump's comments that there are drug dealers and rapists that are coming across the border?
Amnesty is wrong. It's unfair to millions of legal immigrants, immigrants like my dad who came legally in 1957, penniless and not speaking English. When it comes to Donald Trump, I like Donald Trump. I think he's terrific. I think he's brash. I think he speaks the truth. And I think NBC is engaging in political correctness that is silly and that is wrong.
Should he apologize for what he said?
I don't think you should apologize for speaking out against the problem that is illegal immigration. I recognize that the PC world of mainstream media, they don't want to admit it, but the American people are fed up. Now, listen, we are also a nation of immigrants, and we should celebrate legal immigrants. But Donald Trump is exactly right to highlight the need. Are they
mostly drug dealers and rapists that are coming across the border?
Look, they're not mostly that, but Donald Trump, he has of speaking that gets attention, and I credit him for focusing on an issue that needs to be focused.
And he was talking about the unsecured southern border is a problem, and that's, you know, you have talked about that for years.
Look, I represent the state of Texas. We've got nearly 2,000 miles of border. I'll tell you, you know, I've been down there. I've seen the bodies of the women and children of immigrants who are being smuggled in. I'll tell you who are definitely criminals are the smugglers. The smugglers are transnational, vicious cartels You look at these unaccompanied children who are being brought in by these drug cartels. These kids are being physically abused. They're being sexually abused. These are bad, bad guys,
Sure.
the human smugglers and drug smugglers, and we need to focus on national security, particularly with the threat of ISIS.
Your new book is called Ted Cruz, A Time for Truth. A great book. It tells his life story, and read it and find out why he bought his wife a 357.
Well, and what it also tries to do is tell the inside story of if you've ever wanted to be at a closed-door meeting of the Senate Republican leadership, if you ever wanted to know what goes on behind the doors at the U.S. Supreme Court, I started my career clerking there. I endeavor in the book simply to tell the truth of what's happening in our country.
And why you're running.
Absolutely.
Senator, thank you very much.
Thank you for your time today, Senator.